to start with. And when we were progressing with the ministry, we became complacent. So complacent such that even the other Africans stopped being comfortable with us. And we ended up being a Kenyan church. So comfortable such that you'd have groups of Kikuyus doing Kikuyu politics, and Luos doing Luo politics, and Karenjins doing Karenjin politics after the service. So some people would even arrive at church at lunch hour. We used to feed people. We were feeding everybody who came to church. So they would come at lunch hour to eat and then start politics. Especially, I remember the worst was was there a general election in 2017? You know, even people wanted to fight in my church because they were saying, no, you cannot deny Baba a chance again. You cannot. Mumetesa Baba miaka mingi. So you got these people. So they are fighting in the church because of the politics. I'm going quickly because I'm going quickly because we don't have a lot of time, and I want us to pray. But I'm giving you a geographical position. I started with the missionaries, and then I came to us through Derek Prince, and now it's us, like me and Helen. Where's Michael? Michael has prayed, has done worship in that church for a long time. So we are there doing ministry, but it has already stopped being mission to Scotland. It has stopped to be what burden Derek Prince had. It has stopped being a cry for Scotland, and it has become a comfort zone for Kenyans, a comfort zone for us to do our things. We go and work. By the way, by this time, all these people who are coming to church, most of them had been asylum seekers. They were looking to settle, and I would go and pray, and God would just meet their needs. So most of them now have their documentation. They have bought houses. They have bought cars. They are comfortable. And really, God is a box to tick when it's convenient. So people, if they have a shift, the shift comes fast. If they have a party, the party comes fast. And that's now us. I'm not pointing fingers to anybody. That's us. Then God rejected our church. He said, that model, he can't work with. That model I don't want. So through the members, one of our sisters, we got a prophecy through a dream that God does not want what we are doing. And he's going. We used to have a beautiful building, 3-story building with wonderful things, kitchen facilities, offices, everything. So we got the word. The first word came in 2017. No, 2018. I was actually in Kenya when God gave the prophecy, and it was very powerful through a dream. I have it here, it's written, it's typed. Then the second one came in 2019. And then now he spoke to me directly in 2020. And he told me to tell the people he's going to scatter them. He's going to scatter everybody. Those who came for ministry will serve God. Those who came for other things, they'll just do other things. But it's not going. Nobody will be together again. That was January 2020. Nobody knew that COVID is coming to UK. Nobody knew that COVID is coming to the world. So I did a 31 days of prayer and fasting, and I spoke. You can find that message is on Facebook, it's on YouTube. Very powerful message on the 31st of December 2019. And I said to people, the Lord has said, you have to come out of your comfort zone. You have to maximize your potential. If you don't maximize your potential, God is not going to bear with you. He's going to scatter you. So then God told me the month of February to do praise and worship. So I led a continuous praise and worship in the church for the whole month. And at the end of that, God said, I've now cleared this space. You are ready now to start the new work. So I got excited. I even went to buy a new building, a new church building next to my house. And I was telling people, every corner of the city, look for a church. We are buying churches. I was so excited. And then I lost a friend's daughter. And I said, nimewachia assignment, One of it, even people started contributing. The church that was next to my house, I got a mortgage from a bank called one of the Christian institutions. So I was ready, excited, everything to go. And with that excitement, I lost a friend's daughter. And when I came to Kenya for the funeral, when I was preparing to come, I was supposed to come on a Thursday. The Lord said, no, go on Monday. And I like listening to God. Now, when I say that, you guys may wonder, how do you hear from God? You may wonder, how does God engage with people? Now, ask me, because God speaks to me the way I'm speaking to you. But I learned it in a very simple way. I started by writing. Before, when I was young, I've forgotten. I wanted to give you a lot of illustrations today. I used to have, those small notepads which are like that. And I would sit and I would pray. When I finished praying, I would just write on the notepad the thoughts that are coming to my mind. And I used to call them thoughts. Then after a year or two, that I'm talking of 1985, 86, after a year or two, I realized that whatever I wrote happened. And I got a bit confused. How can I write things? And if I said this year, I'm going to buy, those are the days you had to budget for an underwear, budget for a socks, budget for a belt, budget, and you're not getting my point. And I would write them, and I'll put the budget, I'll put the other thoughts together, and I'll see them happening. And I say, this cannot be taken for granted. So I started creating more time to reflect. And I started to believe that that's not me who speaks, who gets the thoughts. It's God who speaks to me. So I started to become very candid about what I write. I would now address myself. Let me read for you one. This is the one I was praying this week. I'll tell you when it was written. I'll not read the whole thing. I write a lot. So I'll read for you the one that I wrote on 26th May, 2020. And those who stay near me, they will know whether these things have happened or not. 26 May 2020. Dear Lucas, today is the day of separation. I'll give you men and women who will implement all that I have given you. I'll give you managers, development workers, strategists, innovators, agriculturists, carpenters. I'll give you animal experts and fruit experts. I'll prosper the projects that I've given you. I'll convert them into manageable programs. You expand greatly and be fully resourced. You have been faithful with small things, and you have learned to listen to my word. I want now to lift you to a position of honor in my house. Lucas, only be humble and be obedient. Always let Zephaniah 2:3, somebody open Zephaniah 2:3. Let Zephaniah 2:3 be the key scripture that guides your thoughts and your actions. Don't be arrogant. Don't be proud. Do everything with a humble and a sincere heart. I'll guide every step of the way. I'll increase your ability to discern and hear my voice. Lucas, be very courageous, that you may destroy all the works and the workers of iniquity in this land, that the innocent sons and daughters of this land may taste and see your beauty and your love in me. I'll establish my work here, and many will come from all over the world here to worship me and to hear my word. Be very faithful and be very humble, and I will strengthen you and give you great victory. Read the book of Habakkuk 2:8. Somebody mark Habakkuk 2:8. I have judged all ungodly systems in this land, and I have made you the victor in this land. Don't fear and don't give the enemy any ground. Don't open any door for the evil one. Be strong, be courageous, walk in my power, for I will strengthen you, and your inner man with might I will provide all the resources to establish my work in this land. I will build you, I will strengthen you, in all your thoughts and actions. I will prompt you and guide you everywhere you go. Lucas, I will give you many investors in the project. Be faithful and diligent. Offer them the resources and the profits you promise so that they can prosper through the projects. Be an encouragement to many through your faithfulness and your diligence. Somebody say amen. Oh, that's not it. Let me just continue. I brought you here for a very good reason. It will not be in vain. All your efforts, every prayer here will be answered. This is the way you will know is this so special? Why is it so special today? I had no answer until I got a call from Kenya, from my youngest sister. Hi, brother. How are you doing? How is Scotland? Have you seen the news? What about the news? The president has said Kenya has been shut. Nobody is going to come in or out of Kenya except those who are traveling, and they have only been given 48 hours. No, she didn't tell me they have been given. She just said Kenya has been shut. Nobody can come in and come out. He said, my father, I cannot be separated from my wife. My wife is in Kenya and my son, and I'm in Scotland. And then the president continued with his speech. Remember, the speech is still going. Everybody now, remember, our church used to be like a political church. Although they're doing the birthday, everybody now is on the news. And then we get an answer. So I say, it was very political. Anyhow, that day, before the Monday, God told me to change my ticket from Thursday to Monday. And when I was doing in Scotland, and I just wanted to come to Kenya quickly for the funeral and back, I had actually struggled and said to my son, you'll go and represent me in the funeral because these are family friends. And he was willing to go and represent me. But I got a prompting, changed my ticket from Thursday to Monday, which means I came back just behind the deadline. The deadline now, when Uhuru now announces, he says the last flight to land in Kenya will land on Wednesday. So I traveled on Monday. I arrived on Monday night. They said everybody landing must go to quarantine. By the time they said everybody go to quarantine, I was in Malindi with my wife, and I quarantined myself. You know where I live? This is a bit civilized. Where I live, you drive. How much do you drive inside? You drive into the bush. So the quarantine was great. But one day I got the temptation to get out of the quarantine. And when I was driving, one of my friends who has been talking to me this morning says, Prof, where are you? I'm in Malindi. Where? In the farm. Are you moving around? Yes, I'm just about to go. Go back to the house. You'll be arrested. There are people coming to arrest you because they have said you're not quarantined. So we drove back to the house, and these officers came. and they asked us questions. I can't remember how it went, but they never arrested me. So, but the person we had arrived with, who was the deputy governor, was arrested. Fast forward, I'm now in Kenya and I'm landlocked in Kenya. COVID happens. A lot of things happen. That is when God is speaking about these things and many others. Our church starts to leak from the roof. It's a flat roof building. And it's leaking and leaking and leaking. Because you see, buildings there to be sustained, you have to keep them hot. You have to heat them during winter. If you don't heat them, they start to decompose. So it starts to decompose slowly. Year one, I'm away. Year two, nobody's going to church. Nobody even knows what it looks like. So I come back. So this is 2020. I come back end of 2021 into Scotland. And the first place I want to go to is the church. And I find the ceiling has already collapsed and other things have collapsed in the church. I do whatever I need to do quickly and tidy it up, and I get people to start coming back. And I hear the first voice I heard from the Lord: I've rejected this church. I've rejected this building, and I've rejected this name. I hear it. We try to pray. We try to come together. No breakthrough. After about 2 or 3 months of trying everything, I tell people, we will not be going to the building. It's too cold. We'll be coming to my house. So people start coming to my house, and then the country is locked down again. Incidentally, I had a ticket. When they announced they are locking down, and my wife was still here, I came back to Kenya. I was not locked down in Scotland. I don't know what I could have done if the second lockdown found me there. It was worse than the first one. So by the time the second lockdown is finished, a decision is made to condemn some buildings, not just our building, a number of buildings that had gone, and so many things were shut. Public places were shut. If you never met certain standards, you're shut. So our building was shut. 2022, our building was smashed, and it was left as a flat ground. Nothing. The way Jesus said, no stone will be left on top of each other. Today, if you go, it's a flat ground, only a fence, there's nothing. You remember the message I read to you, that I'm making you a significant person in my house? In 2020, Bishop Mark approaches me, and he says, we feel that you have a calling, and we want to consecrate you as a bishop for the marketplace and the diaspora community. Now, I know this is 2020, so everything looks nice and rosy. I've already told people where they're going to plant churches. But now with COVID, the consecration was in June. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in 21. It doesn't happen, but I'm already being called bishop now because it was declared 22, 23. So bishops come from Kenya in 2023. In preparation for the consecration of me to become a bishop, I pray and fast. I cry to the Lord. I cry to the Lord. I said, God, you know, they're coming to make me a bishop, but we don't even have one congregation. You're not getting the point. Si mmevunjwa hiyo. Na watu wametawanyika. Hata wenye makanisa wenye naendaga kusupport, the churches I used to go and support, they are all shut. Kanisa yenye iko na watu wengi ni watu 3, watu 4. Even today, if you go now to Scotland, churches that were vibrant, they just went off. So I'm crying to the Lord and I'm saying, God, do I really need to be made a bishop? Do I need to be consecrated? Is there a ministry? And the Lord spoke to me like day and night that I rejected that church because I have a vision. I have a mission. There are some dry bones. Lucas, can these dry bones live? Because as long as the Kenyans are meeting and singing Shangwe Hallelujah, Shangwe Hallelujah, you think there's something happening, but the place is dry. As long as Nigerians are meeting and they're skyrocketing and hitting the roof with all the divining and all the other things they are saying, I'm not there. As long as Ghanaians are meeting, that is not why I brought them. I brought them for my lost sheep of Scotland. So 1,000 Nigerians don't mean anything to me. 10,000 Kenyans don't mean anything to me. 20,000 South Africans don't mean anything to me. The people who mean anything to me is that one person who goes in a park and reaches to one white man, one white lady, goes to the community, to the hospitals, goes to the schools. That is where the ministry is. Lucas, you need to ignite the fire for Scotland. So that was in 2023. I was actually doing all that in America. I was not even in UK. I'm praying and the Lord is speaking, so I started to type and to pray and to type and to pray and to type and to pray. And as I was praying, this old man, Fraser Oxton, the one we have been praying with for now 22 years, comes to my house and he says, have you not heard? I can't shake you the way he shook me because I got shocked. Have you not heard that your work in Scotland is not done? Have you not heard that God wants to use you? Lucas, when are you going to hear? I said, what do you mean? He said, you've been wasting your time with these Kenyans. You're wasting your time with these Africans. That's not what God called you to do here. Why do you want to waste your life? We started a new move and we started to do door-to-door evangelism. And when we were doing door-to-door evangelism, God was touching people. We were getting a lot of responses. And Bishop Mark comes, and there were many bishops, and they anointed me and consecrated me as the bishop in the marketplace in Scotland and in the diaspora. But the fire erupted in my spirit. And the Lord told me, you are going to set up businesses. You're going to set up marketplace activities, because you're not going to stretch your hand to ask people to help you to preach the gospel. People who will be involved in the ministry, number one, will be marketplace people. Number two, will be people who can give, or rather who can pay into the mission instead of being paid to go to the mission. There'll be people who have had my voice and they have no doubt about my calling. And I'm giving you a strong team. Now, that is another book. This one is it's powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. The people now for Fire for Scotland are going to come. And I think that's where I'm going towards prayer now. Can you read, who read it? Priscilla, can you read your section again? The Ezekiel, you started from verse 8. So that's where now this section is coming in. Read for us.
Ezekiel 37.
Yeah, you start from verse 8.
Start from verses 8 and I'm reading from
As I walked.
I watched.
As I watched.
Yes.
So where is the prophet? You are the one who prophesied, Sister Faith. Hold your section. I'll keep on coming back.
Prophesy to this hear the word of the Lord. This is what the sovereign Lord says to the bones. I will make bread into you.
Okay, stop there. So my first action that God told me after consecration, he told me to prophesy. So I started speaking into Scotland. I started speaking like a crazy man, because whatever I was speaking, the building that I was consecrated was the first building that I took over. And what was interesting, you're going to like this. What was interesting is that the building that I was consecrated to become bishop is the first building that I slept in when I arrived in Scotland. So I arrived in 2002. I was consecrated in 2023. How many years are those? 21 years. 21 and 6 months later, God brought me back to the dry bone, because this church was built over 200 years ago. It's a Victorian building. And when I was there, I started to prophesy to that ministry. Remember, you're in Glasgow, so that's one building to target. I'll give you the pictures and the details of the building. So the people I'm giving you cities, they're already pictures and buildings that we are targeting. As we have already walked into it and prayed into it, we're now starting to see how to renovate it. So I'm in this building, and I started to speak my calling, because when I was in that building, I saw what God showed me when we were with Derek Prince in the year 2000 in Cornwall. Now, remember, 20 years have gone. Are they wasted years? No. They were years of learning. I learned Scottish culture. I learned Scottish business. I worked in Scottish universities. I worked with Scottish politicians. I became an advisor at the highest level. So I know how the Freemasons operate. I know how the humanists operate. I know how the devil worshippers. This 20 years is an investment for all of us. But now at time, Ezekiel, remember, Ezekiel, when he's prophesying, is not the time he becomes a prophet. It could have been good 25 years before he comes now to a position to call into existence that which is not. Amen. So where we are seated now today, we are in a position of significance because a journey has already been made, and we are now living that journey by prophetic utterances. So our prayers are not just going to be asking prayers. We shall also be speaking and proclaiming and prophesying into circumstances and situations. I was talking to Apostle Kimani, we were with you. You know, some of these stories when I give, people think, this bishop likes giving stories. And he gave us his journey. He gave us the journey that he went through. And you know, it's just a journey of faith. Elijah was a likewise man, likewise with passion. We say like passion, like us. But he prayed, and for 3 years, there was no rain. And he prayed things that you are convicted about. He's speaking things that you believe. Start to do things around them. To make logos for Glasgow, fire for Scotland, Glasgow, and then you put now what God is putting. You start to document, you start to budget. That's how I operate. If I give you these papers for New Year's, they are full of billions. Nowadays, I don't talk about millions because I've seen them. Me, I only talk about what I've not touched. Now I'm talking billions because I've touched millions. Yeah, are you getting the point? You start to speak things. You start to speak vans, aeroplanes, things that will make mission work possible. So the most tough one is making bones to live. The ones I've told you, they are simpler. They are easier. They are things that can happen without a lot of effort. Slave is, you know. And that's what the posture I want us to have. I want us to have a posture that God knows everything. God knows everything. God understands everything. How many are here by accident? Lift up your hand. Anybody here by accident? So you all know that you are here by a divine plan. Yes. You are here divinely. Okay. So I want us to get to that position of prophesying into the circumstances. So I started prophesying into the circumstances. What happens? You know, the reason I'm giving you these stories is to build your faith. Yes. And it's to build your vision and your determination. I'll tell you some crazy things you're not going to believe that God has done, so that when you see what God can do, you're not going to operate on your mindset. You're not going to operate on what you see. You're not going to operate on what you have. Because many people have failed because of what they see. Many people have failed because of what they have, or who they are, or whose they are, or where they come from. Somebody say amen. Amen. So I started to prophesy. And as I was prophesying, the Lord said, Lucas, I'm going to resource this ministry from Kenya. So go back to Kenya, set up. So you're part of what God told me to set up. And I saw you, how many are there? 170,000.
Yeah, we have 18 groups, around 10 are full in terms of having 12 members.
No, I was ahead. The total number that we are following of the groups.
Oh.
The members of Fire for Scotland. The one we want to have 170,000. So I saw the 170,000. I even know how they look like. So I saw you before you saw me. That's why when some of you, when I call you, I tell you that you're already in for a purpose. There's some who will be in a 170,000 but will be tired. But the majority of those 170,000, they'll do exploits. Those exploits, you'll be having a city in Glasgow, and the Lord will tell you everywhere where there is something called Glasgow is yours, Port Glasgow is yours, God will start to expand. So the message I made was for buildings, that these buildings will come to us without any efforts. Amen. So I went back to Scotland and I got the first building. No, I got it from here. I got an email. I was told, we know that your building came down. We have a building we want to give you. You can use it. I went and looked at it. It was an old, dilapidated building, a double-story building, and I started to plan how I'm going to renovate the building. But I came back and continued to pray. As I was praying, my pastor, Reverend Sylvester, said to me, Bishop, that place will take a long time to get ready, and I'm on fire. I need to start something. I want to get another building. So he got a bank, and the ministry started in the bank. When I went to the bank, so that's now our first church plant after the first one died. So he plants it in this bank building. It's a beautiful building, again, Victorian building, but there's a challenge, and it's a big challenge. Anybody who cannot go on stairs like Wanjiko or an elderly person like Fraser, they were really struggling. And when we are going up with Fraser, you say, Bishop, are we going to do this every day? By the time we get to the second floor and there's no lift, you can feel for this 86-year-old man. One day we are with him. I leave him and Helen, me and Sylvester goes to this other building to see what can we do, at least to provide, because there are not many members, at least to provide a space where these people are going to be worshiping. I look at it, I look at it, I look at it, and I say, no, enough is enough. We are not going to start in an old, dilapidated building. That's not where we are going to start. I got holy anger. And that's where the breakthroughs happen. So sometimes you need to have holy anger. These people are seeing me half. Sorry, Reverend, you're seeing me half image. I have to put it nice. So I got holy anger. And I'm walking angry. I came to this building. My mind is saying, Tigotura Jibagagishitira, Gotura Jibagagitira, Tigotura Jibagagitira, Gotura Jibagagitira. Who can translate what I'm saying? I will not always be the one who beats the fallow ground. And when I've beaten the fallow ground, other people come and they plant. I beat another fallow ground, they come and plant. And I've never had a problem. I have beaten so many fallow grounds, starting with Kiamurogi. Anybody who knows what is Kiamurogi? Kiamurogi was a serious, Kiamurogi means the village of the witch. That's where I started my ministry when I was 13. I hit a fallow ground ya watu wa chang'aa na busaa. Wanakuja wanaficha busaa kwangu na pombe kwangu, kwa sababu mimi tu ndio nilijulikana kwa hiyo kijiji ya Kiamurogi nimeokoka. Walikuwa nakimbia, polisi wakikuja wanarusha kwa choo. Choo yangu walikuwa very deep. Polisi wakienda wanaingia kwa choo, wanatoa chang'aa, wanatoa busaa. That was my first fallow ground. Then I was promoted to Kitengela. Hii Kitengela mnaona mzuri. It was another place. You know that Kitengela, it was horrible. It was a place for prostitutes and drunkards, a bed behind the trucks going from Nairobi to Tanzania. And as soon as they would come, so many ladies would come and stand around the truck. And one would be chosen. The others would be told to leo hakuna kazi, they would go. So the one chosen would go to the back of the truck. Niliwaleta kwa Yesu wote. Hakuna, when I lived in Kitengela, there's nobody was doing that business. I can now take you to Boston, Massachusetts. I show you some of the girls there who are doing that kind of business. They are flourishing. I can take you to many parts of the world. The ground. As soon as Kitengela was taking off, I went to UK. Hard ground. Then I didn't even stay there long. The Archbishop said, no, we need you somewhere else. I dropped here before I settled South Africa, a village called Sobantu. That was the head of HIV and AIDS in the whole of the world. I became the pastor of the highly infected HIV AIDS community in the entire world. How do I know the statistics? South Africa was the highest density of HIV and AIDS. Pietermaritzburg was the big capital of HIV and AIDS, and Sabantu was the village that had the highest concentration in Pietermaritzburg. So letting one global, by the way, we attracted a lot of global interest because research and everything was being done there. By the time I left that village of Sabantu, which was a very notorious, they tried to kill me, by the way. They came with guns. I was told to write down. Who is the pastor? We went with my family. Who is the pastor? I'm the pastor. We've been paid to kill him because I dismantled the works of darkness. I plowed a fallow ground. By the time I left, nice buildings were coming up. Kids were going to university. Transformation had happened. And that's when I met with Derek Prince. Well, I had known Derek Prince before that. His ministry had been inspiring me even when I was in Kitengela. And so in Cornwall, England, Derek Prince speaks about Glasgow. Then I go and start digging the fallow ground. This building imekuwa flat. Me, I've worked on it physically. We came, I worked on the building. I used to stay there, very cold. It was very cold. In winters, we had no heating. We decorated it, we made it so nice. And now I'm going to start again. Remember, I've been prophesying. So you don't prophesy mediocre things. Kama una prophesy gani, usiprophesy KAJ 322. KAJ 322 itakuralisha barabara kutoka January mpaka December. The latest one now is KD what? Imetoka hapo. Yes. DS. Ukiprophesy gani, profesia gani mzuri. Bwana asifiwe sana. Ukiprophesy nyumba, hapana prophesy nyumba yenye itakuwa ikinyesha kila siku. Prophesy nyumba mzuri. Bwana asifiwe. There are cases to be adjudicated in heaven. That was my first case. I cannot continue plowing fallow ground. So nimetoka na hori anga, I'm standing outside this bank church. It's a good building, but it's frustrating building because some people cannot even come to church like Wanjiko. So I'm standing there and I saw, you know, when you're angry, God will show you what you need quickly. It has to be holy. So I see an advert saying to rent. It's a building like this. It just looks, it's not as big, but nice building, modern building to let. I take the phone, I call. No, I save the phone because it's on Sunday, and I call on Monday. First phone, we get a building. We walked into a building. That's where you're going now to have the base for the Fire for Scotland when you go. Everything done. Even the color coding was the color coding of our ministry. You're not getting the point. You walk in, carpet, lights, easy lights, ukiingia inawaka, ukiondoka inazima. Unajua hiyo light? Yes. Ukitaka chai, hauanzi kuchemsha birika, unafinya button, chai inatoka, unafinya inazima. Bwana asifiwe. Ukitaka hizi ma LCD na kila kitu, bali naenda kwa ofisi, boardroom. Hakuna kubeba machaja, mnaona vile tunasumbuka. Nawekelea tu suluhisho. Inaanza kwa meza, inaanza kuchaji peke yake. Hakuna kubeba chaja. Okay. Bwana asifiwe. I'm talking about prophesying. My wife and Fraser and Sister Beatrice, we were in the car. When I saw this building, I said, darling, some of these things, how are you going to manage? You don't even have members. How is it going to work? I'm talking about prophesying to dry bones.
Yes.
I'm trying to get it into your bones. I want it to be the only thing that you take out of this place. And remember, it's for Scotland, but it can also be for you personally. It can start working in you because it works in me every single day, every moment of my life. And God has a way, He has a sense of humor. God sometimes makes sure I have no penny. Penny, inakuwa sina. Nafuliza tu kama watu wengine. Nafuliza. Mungu ana make sure nitafuliza. Ili akitenda miujiza, sitasema oh, hiyo ni ile nilikuwa nimeweka huko ama huko. Anafanya miujiza ambaye ni ya kimaajabu. So we had no money. We see this building. I announce we are going to get this building. The church has a membership. So hiyo walikuwa wamefika watu 10. Less than 10. Wale wengine waliskata. Siniwaambia wataskata. Today we need, I think the first day we needed something equivalent of Kenya shillings like 10,000 pounds.
1.5.
1.5, no? 1 point, Michael, 10,000 pounds. 1.5, 1.6. We need 1.6 million by tomorrow. I just said that in the chat. Remember, I don't have. I like walking by faith. Within less than 3 hours, we had already gotten the money. 30 minutes, we got 700,000. No, over that, we got 7,000 pounds within 30 minutes. When I went to meet with the landlord, now this is where the story begins. You go to preparation, prophesying. Prophesy to the bones, prophesy to the dry bones.
Yes.
In your life, in your situation, in your family, prophesy to the dry bones. Prophesy to the dry bones. So this is fast forward. So I made a call on Monday. The owner says, I have a good feeling about you. I've never met you, but there's something special. We are not just going to do this building. We are going to do many things. We are going to enter into businesses.
Amen.
I've never seen him. I don't know whether he's white or black, but the way he's speaking Scottish. Even my son, he speaks Scottish. You can't tell. Anyway, I meet him. And I have the money. It's nothing as good as having money. Kama wewe upendi pesa, shauri yako. Mimi napenda pesa. Hata kama saa ingine zinanipuka kidogo. But I love it. So I have the 10,000. It's actually on my bank account. We transferred it to my bank account. So that if he says pay, I'll just go to the phone and do. Sometimes first impressions matters. First impression. So to my account, I've not even paid him. He says, I like you. I don't know why I like you, but there's something about you that is special. But now let me shock you. He goes to his phone. He says, I want to show you something special. And I might not be able to do it practically because of diversion. He shows me a church, a big church. He says, you said you are a bishop? Yes, I'm a bishop. Is there anything you can do with this? So, yes. This one, I can do something. He says, would you like to see it? Yes. Well, now. And we plan after a few days, we go to see the church. Now we have already started to become serious friends. I'll tell you who he is. So we go to see the church. The church is a massive building. It has no defects. He had bought it to build himself a nice home. That's what they do in Scotland. If it's nicely positioned, you buy, you take away the pews, you subdivide it, you have a nice sitting room in there. That was his plan. When he was there, the Lord spoke to him and said, this is my building. It cannot be your home. Get out. And then he gets home and the wife says, you know what I was going through? That building cannot be our home. That was not built for us. Are we trying to be God? The wife is telling the husband. And the husband is telling the wife. God does extraordinary things. So he says, I can't give it to you free of charge, but how much would you like to pay? I said, I want to be genuine. What is the value? He says it's 220,000. I'm talking about faith. Prophesy into the box. 220,000. I said, don't worry. You can't give me a discount. I'll make it 180,000. From 220 to 180. Okay, I'm going to America. By the time I come back, I'll have enough money to buy the building. Do I know where the money will come from? I'm not even going to look for to fundraise for church. The time the president was going. You can remember the time the president is the one after. Welcome, Reverend.
There is a place.
You have a seat here. Your seat is right here. Let's welcome Reverend. So I tell you, let me go to America. By the time I come, I'm going to buy. Am I lying? Some people can think I'm lying. I'm just speaking my faith, speaking things that are not as if they are. I'll come and buy when I come back from America. And people, when they're going to America, people think big things. America is the land of opportunity. So I go to America, I do my meetings, I ran out of money in America. I even ran out of a ticket in America because I had gone to America with a one-way ticket. I have no ticket to come back. And the money for the hotel has been finished. So I don't have the money for the hotel. So I can't stay in America anymore. And I can't go back anymore. So I'm not praying for money to buy a church. I'm praying for tickets because I can't even sleep here. The money has run out. I operate with a God, a good God. So I don't sleep. How do you sleep when you have no money and you're supposed to go tomorrow and you have no ticket? I pray the whole night. In the morning, I get an idea. I use the idea to get the ticket. You may travel a lot. I'm a frequent flyer. So I go to my frequent flyer solutions. And when I'm trying to use my frequent flyer, it's not working. Somebody puts money into my account. So I pay. We run a lot of businesses. So anytime money can come. So sidanganyike ukisikia sina hata nduru. I may not have a nduru now, but I could be having 10 million in 5 minutes. So that's me, that's my life. But when I tell you I have no money, I don't have. So this time I'm in America and I have no money. I have nothing. And there's no source. And I don't like to ask for money. I made a covenant with God. Other than this woman who is me, there's nobody else ask for me. I don't. I made a covenant. I'll only be asking from God. And when I know she has bank money in the account, before I ask God, I ask her. But I don't finish her completely. You cannot bakisha nasikia comfortable sasa narudi huko. Although that's the source. So here I am coming back from America. I'm coming to buy a church, 180,000. I have no air ticket. So I come and he's waiting for me. So as soon as I arrive, he called, Prof, how was your church? When can we meet? Are you still buying the church? Yes. Do you have the money? Yes. When can we meet? Tomorrow. So I go to meet him. I'm seriously buying the church. But that's another story. Prof, you told me you grew pineapples in Malindi. Do you have pictures of your pineapples? You know how I like to show off about the pineapples even now. I just sent somebody last night a picture about the pineapple. Yeah, these are the pineapples. How many acres, Prof, how many acres do you have? The ones that are on pineapple, the land where the pineapples are is just 3,000 acres. Yeah, Prof, you have 3,000 acres of land, yes. And you have some pineapple. Instead of paying me for the church, can't I pay you so that I can join you growing pineapples? I'll just get a small land. I pay you 20,000. Prof, please, Prof. I'll just pay you 20,000. Please. Please, even if you want the money now, Prof. I say, okay, brother, don't worry. You'll get the land and you'll get the pineapple. What else do you want? I can give you a few goats to be eating when you come to look at your pineapple. Deal. Deal? Deal. I'll show you another church. Yeah. So he says, are you busy? Let's go. If this one I'll buy for you. This one, you don't even need to give me money. I will show you another church. You know, he became the church showing person. Church showing person. Now, I can't tell you what businesses we are doing. I can't disclose everything. But he was like a Cornelius into my life. He's not a Christian. He's sick. Umesikia watu wanaitwa sick. Umesikia. Unajua. Today, everything that I need done, he does for me. Everything. 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 So God just wants you to speak to. And dry bones can manifest in many ways. Yesterday, the temptation I got, maybe this should not be. Let me come out of YouTube. Let me come out of YouTube. Because, wow, somebody said,